Merry meet all. Welcome to the Wyrdcraft channel. Now, this is an episode which sort of rides on the coattails of a previous upload I've done, which is on the Enchanted Duet. I'll add a link in the description, which is based on a vision I had around 2 weeks ago on a Friday morning, early Friday morning. And I needed to do I wanted to do draw a couple of cards from different decks to clarify my vision. And basically it's based on where forward for those of us who are inclined to want to stay and be in the natural world, and what natural is in the normie 2023 year to come. And I've added some notes in my thoughts in the previous in that episode, so please go over to the Duet channel. The link to the episodes in the description, as I said, to get a bit more of a context into how I'm reading these cards for 2023. So I guess they're for me, but I think as well they're also for those, no matter who and where you are around the world, if you love the natural world and you don't want anything part of what's happening and what is to come, and you're feeling a bit lost. I personally have felt a little bit lost. I haven't been looking after myself as much as I usually do. But that's partly because I've taken on birds I've never had before this year, and it's been a very long process with them, and I've loved every minute of it, and it's helped me grow. But everything, there's a cost. You need to pay that cost. It doesn't necessarily mean money, and usually the things that don't cost money are worth the most. So let's get to these cards. So the first card I drew is actually a princess from Prague, a Druid, a prophetess. Her name is Libuse. So this card basically is saying a new door is opening, step over the threshold. So in light of my vision that I explained in the Duet episode, that it may seem like an end, but there's a new door opening. I'm going to read through the card and then do my take home from it, from its little white book. The expanded meaning. Doors open to allow us opportunity to reach our fullest potential. Do not fear unknown territory. And I think a lot of people have been taken off land, taken away from their roots, taken away from the natural world, and groomed to function within a system of which they ultimately have no control and are controlled by others who want to use the people as a battery resource. And it wouldn't be so bad if controllers had a love for a nation and preserved and protected a nation, but they're failing on that oath. If you cannot protect the women and children of your nation, if you cannot protect the land of your nation and the people there, then you don't have the right to run it. You have failed your oath. Therefore, any contracts are null and void, in my opinion. Okay. Also, being someone who actually reads books on history, it doesn't just go by what people say or have an opinion without studying history. So anyways, because of all that, people generally are fearful of nature. They should be fearful of anti-nature. They should be fearful of the unnatural, because we're human. As human, we are of the natural world. We're meant to be living within and with the natural world, not against it and not apart from it. Part of our soul dies when we do either, especially both. So a lot of people have come to fear nature as the abyss, the unknown, and, you know, going into my vision that I mentioned in the Duet channel, the dark abyss of unknown is often of how people see nature. Oh, you're going to get eaten by tigers, and so no, animals don't go out there with rifles hunting you. That's what humans do. Yeah, just I've heard. I think it was a cottage fairy. She said that often animals and wild just want to be left the F alone. They do. Unless they trust you. Sometimes they'll come up to you. I have that. But, you know, long story. The fear of nature is so, like, even there's a fear of the forest and the jungle. Everything's out to get you. This is often as well a side effect of societies being brainwashed into religious cults which are anti-nature. They replace the energy source of a human being, which is the natural world, spiritually. Your energy source comes from the natural world. I cannot speak for every ethnos, but I can speak for my own, of the, you know, that descends from all of my tribes of the European diaspora. We all descend from the Norsemen. And our spiritual source of energy is the natural world. Whenever we need to, we hit nature. I don't mean like beat up nature. I mean we get into nature. That's how we get our spiritual recalibration, our soul. You know, there's no separation. When there's a separation, there's a death of the soul that happens with us, and become vacuous, soulless beings, which is good for people that want to utilize us to do their bidding, but it's not good for the actual soul of the individual. So anyway, people tend to see nature as something to fear, control, disrespect, because of a lot of conditioning. But also, we must always put the onus on someone, those who accept that conditioning. You can always refuse. You can always be a stubborn ass. I have been. It's meant that I'm alone. I don't have a family or anything like that. I have animals. But I don't have human family in that, and I'd rather be alone and living with honour and standing for what's right and natural and good than to be surrounded by degenerated states of being and vacuous vampires. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the card. This is continue on the card here, and then I'll give my thoughts on the card. In the 8th century, the Druid princess Libuse foresaw Prague in a mystical trance. It is said this took place on the hill of her castle at Vysard, a magical site that has been occupied since 3000 BCE. She saw a castle whose renown touches the heavens, its boundaries set by the Tavas waves. In the place would be a man constructing a pra. I can't believe this card. In my vision, I was walking up what they call a renown, which is like the peak, like a tower. My gods. This is translated as a threshold. Pra is translated as a threshold, but it also is known to be a hollow dug in the centre of European cities to connect them to the other world. There would then be a pra ritual performed by a Druid priest, aligning it to the 4 directions. This is how Pra or Prague got its name. Libuse began the Přemysl dynasty of Czech kings and represents the last of the Celtic matriarchal society. On her shoulder is the sokol, or falcon, a symbol of Czech gymnastic strength and beauty. Her brooch commemorates entrance into the EU, which was a step over the unknown threshold for the country itself. Please listen to my previous vision. I can't believe how much correspondence there is with this card with my vision to hone things home. And also nature has always been presumed as a feminine or goddess, and her many forms and translations You cannot profane and distort the feminine in any of its forms without also insulting her and vilifying the natural world. Think very careful on that. The second card I drew was actually Gaia. So Gaia is Greco-Roman, okay? Now, different cultures have different variations of. They're not all the same. They're not all interchangeable. It's one of those annoying neo-pagan things that drives me nuts, is they interchange things, especially modern Wicca. It's not even old Wicca, it's modern. Neo is sort of, which is based on destroying what's old in order to supplant it with some other shit. Anyway, enough of that. Gaia is about abundance. This card, let's read it. Let's see what it says. Gaia was the first to materialize through the gaping void of the chaos. Now, the pra is also chaos. It's unknown, the blackness, the darkness of which things come out. Also in my vision, I mentioned the dark, black abyss of the oceans. That's where, you know, things come out of. That's where she came out of. So this, okay, all right, let's get into the card. As a mother of creation, she gave birth to the heavens, the mountains, and the sea. Depicted on the card are the first man and woman. Now, I don't know about origin stories as a side note. Just, I'll get into that afterwards, okay. Let's continue with the card. Seen bathing naked in her natural waterfalls and breathing in her life force. When Gaia is chosen, the individual is in the custody of the Great Mother, protected and nurtured by the natural world and its seasons. On an oracle level, the arrival of Gaia signals a season to experience the world in the new and plentiful way. Again, I digress, but change. It's stepping over that threshold. We're going to lose things. And now my cat's singing. Sha. But there's an abundance you're not going to see until you're locked out of what's coming. Okay, it will make sense when you listen to my previous, my linked blog. Okay. In a period of formation and creativity, Gaia indicates that you have ample resources. By attuning to the natural world, you will hear her prophecy of prosperity. Feminine wisdom, note. Life renews itself through Gaia, or Earth, who knows the mysteries of life, death, and rebirth. Through her, we are reborn into a fertile and abundant world. Wow. Blown away. With the vision, Libuse from Prague, Gaia, I cannot reinforce enough. Those of you who are beaten, battered down by the unnatural state of things and where it's going, there's also opportunity. And for what looks like death in the end, and we are going to get some serious persecution just wanting to be natural and part of the natural world, which includes respecting what is the feminine and not destroying her or her image or her archetypes and degenerating it. This could be the threshold of where things correct itself. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that, so people can just, so you guys can just come up with your own thoughts, and hopefully this has triggered something. Keep your hands clutching onto nature and the natural world, and if you have got your hands holding onto the natural world, you're not going to want what is coming in 2023 anyway, unless you want to pay for it with the expense of the death of whatever soul you have left. I guess I'm going to leave it on this note. The only reason why control becomes so existential is because those who are controlling have no power. They cannot create with nature. They are not nature. They cannot create natural beauty. They can only mimic it and pretend and dress up and fake it. It's not them in their core. From those who are pushing it, from those who follow it, we have a big smile on their faces and they're loving every minute of it because they can just destroy what is natural, what are the boundaries of nature, what the natural laws are. Maybe their access to nature and the spiritual energies of nature has been going on way too long, and it's time for Gaia, the earth, to shake them off. Just make sure that if you're naturally inclined, please respect nature and animals. You need to reconsider sometimes. I think a lot of people need to reconsider what they are taught they need, what they are taught they need to do to nature and animals in order to survive. Because a lot of it is lies and mechanisms to keep nature in fear of them and them of nature. And again, part of the death of the soul. Which reminds me, there's a post I will do on the duet site. No, honey, my little mean cat, she wants to jump on my lap. In regards to nutrition going forward in times of limit. But also I am vegan, but come on, Miss Fox, gosh, she's so big. And I'm also a qualified dietitian and all that sort of jazz. Retired. I have worked in the industry for over 25 years of being a professional athlete myself, including bodybuilding. So there's a lot of false information put out there by people who aren't even dietetics, and they're just throwing around terms and they don't even know what they mean. Because if they knew what they mean, they'd know that what they're saying is absolute horseshit. But all I can do is give some correct information and then allow people to take the opportunity to try things out themselves and then tweak what they may. And that's all you can do, isn't it? But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Blessed be Mary Part. Have a wonderful Normie 2023. And no matter what happens, keep your rudder deep in the soil. Keep it aligned to the natural world and respect the natural world. Being some sort of called pagan who sacrifices and hurts animals or thinks that they're just vacuous beings that want to be slaughtered and eaten, and just saying that should sound wrong. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of what we're taught to believe. So, your way out is the natural world. Now, if you don't want to have anything to do with the natural world and you want to live an unnatural life, well, I'm not going to give you shit for that, but don't get in my way of my spirituality or my culture of keeping my feet in the roots of the soil. You go do what you do, I go do what I do, and at the end I will surpass you anyway, because I am not living in abomination to nature. I'm living with the natural world, and with the natural world it's forever in all its realms, not just its mid-realm. Anyway, blessed be Mary Part, and I hope these cards have helped with some clarification. And for those, I just can't let this go, can I? For those living in the natural world, embracing the natural world and just not wanting any of this dystopian stuff, stay strong, stay true. We can always do things a little bit better. We can always be a little bit more respectful of the natural world. We can always manage it even better. It's just always keep looking at that. That's part of evolving as a a decent human being, isn't it? And spiritually as well implies that. Blessed be Mary of Heart, and I'm going to upload this now. And yeah, bye for now.